Hello everyone, and now welcome to game 4 in this series between LZ and GungFuBanda. You can see LZ spawning here as the purple Zerg player on the top right hand side of the map. This is Frost LE. Meanwhile, on the bottom left, we have GungFuBanda spawning as the blue Protoss. Blue Protoss versus purple Zerg. And we are now underway. GungFuBanda down 2-1 in this series. Will he be able to even it up, or will LZ be able to finish off his opponent, as I believe this is a best of 5. Overlord now making its way down over here to the bottom right hand side of the map, will not be able to find his opponent, and I believe GungFuBanda has a little bit more familiarity with this map based on how common tournaments are working as of late. GungFuBanda should have been the one who actually chose this particular map. Now, the one game GungFuBanda did take off of LZ was using Blink Stalkers up a cliff. Now, there is a rather large cliff off over here that goes between a third base and the main base, but the walk from here to the mineral line is still rather long, and you're also overcommitting with your stalkers. The reason why I say that is Zerglings can easily intercept any sort of escape route, and once your escape route is out, the stalkers are pretty much going to get surrounded and picked off one at a time. GungFuBanda going for a very, very early gas, and I am curious as to what he's going to be making of this, actually mining gas before even getting up his gateway. That means that by the time that his gateway or his cybernetics core is done, he may have about 150 gas based on the timing, which would be enough for, say, a Stargate. Alright, there is that cybernetics core right there. It does take 50 seconds to build. In about 50 seconds, you do harvest about 100 gas. That's how I did my quick calculation. That is all approximates though, and we'll see how GungFuBanda does do or handle all of this next. Probe now scouting out across. He will find his opponent spawning here at the top right hand side of the map. The probe did scout it out, but he decided not to actually go up inside the base. Not quite sure what the reasoning is behind that. Perhaps it wants to set up a proxy pylon somewhere, but I'm not sure exactly what that would look like or what that would be. There is that probe now, and I believe he is just going to be setting up just a proxy pylon, as we are now also training up a cybernetics or training up warp gate, and we still see about 100 gas. Not quite sure what the 140 gas is doing, and he's not spending that gas right now. What is he waiting on? Wait, did he spend it? No, wait, that was the Zerg. All right, so up to 66. All right, switching colors top and bottom, not quite the same. We can see that what queens are being added, extractor, there's the hatchery. We still don't see what the gas is being spent on at GungFuBanda, but he does have the mothership core, and he is getting up that warp gate tech, which is extremely important. There goes the Zergling down to 4 hit points, will be able to survive. Meanwhile, a probe down over here. Very interesting that it's really, really close to his opponent's third base. There is, what, a Loyot off over there as well. Perhaps the probe can say hi to his little friend. Meanwhile, are we going to be seeing a proxy pylon? Nexus coming into play. Gateway. Gateway is acting and fortifying that front door. That is definitely within the realm of possibility, as the Zealot now going to be running off over here to the center portion of the map. Zerglings not going to be able to get through though, as there is a sentry in position. The Zergling not going to be able to do much of anything at all, as we are now looking at this proxy pylon by GungFuBanda. Alright, GungFu, if he's able to destroy this hatchery before there is good saturation, that would give him a significant advantage. Anytime you're able to take out a hatchery before it's been able to pay for itself, and take out a handful of workers as well, it really sets a Zerg player back. Alright, there is some Zerglings now looking to come in here to reinforce. Okay, there is also a mothership core here as well, and that Zealot is having a very bad day there, but it is going to get in a number of kills. There is a proxy pylon now coming. No proxy pylon. finally coming in off to the north. The Queen is now looking to engage as the Zealots are there as well. 4 Zealots are going to be able to heavily pressure this base in just a moment as the Queens and the Zerglings are now trying to reinforce here. All right, the Zealots, are they going to be able to do anything? Zerglings are going to get taken down. We are now reinforcing. Zealots are still reinforcing here. The Queens are going to get caught off of creep in just a moment, and that does mean a little bit of free swiping by those Zealots. All right, a Dark Shrine being added as well, and this is perhaps going to put LZ on tilt just a bit. You can see that his opponent is running up on this third base, but this base has not really done anything except for train units and put him in a little bit more of a defensive position. Because he didn't take his closer base off to the north, he's actually being forced to fight away where there's very low reinforcements. Zergling's now starting to reinforce as well. You can see that the Mothership Core is still fighting off in the back, and that Mothership Core is actually in a strange spot. The Mothership Core is not taking damage, finally gets focused down by the Queens, as the Zealots are looking to hold the line, but this is gonna be too even of a trade. You can see that the Zerg is gonna be able to finish this up here in just a moment. More Zealots now continuing to reinforce as well. The Queens now making their way back. Perhaps a Dark Templar will be able to make its way in as a Sentry was able to snipe down one poor unit. All right, the Zealots are all right here. The Zerglings are trying to come in. Are we gonna perhaps see a Dark Templar warp in as well? No, it doesn't look like it, as LZ is going to come out and be the victor. So far, the one Dark Templar was able to make its way in, and what is this doing? Does LZ realize that there is a Dark Templar? Oh, the Spore Crawler spotted that Dark Templar for just a moment, and now we see another Spore Crawler here as well. This Dark Templar is just trying to make its way inside the base, but unable to do so as there was a Spore Crawler right off over there. So the Dark Templar follow-up loses traction before any sort of opening, as we're now looking at that Dark Templar heading back, perhaps holding a Xel'Naga tower instead. Back over here, the Zerglings are now running north and south. There is one Dark Templar here at this western or eastern bridge, excuse me, and still really nothing to show by LZ. LZ has been that very cold and calculating player. We saw that in game number 1. Just making sure that he had a superior economic advantage. That is one of the things that Zergs absolutely do best. As we can see that the Zealot is actually now going to town onto some of those Zerglings. So far, though, it looks as though the Zerglings are not going to be able to stop this expansion from coming into play, but I don't believe that's really GungFuBanda's intent. He's not trying to stop, as he is just trying to delay. He has a significant harvester advantage, 17 workers, and he is also mining from additional bases, so he knows that his income is significantly higher. As long as he has that higher income, he knows that he can reach maximum supply faster, and that is going to help him out tremendously in those upcoming fights. GungFuBanda now still sitting in the center location, as we are getting an Archon now merging together. Archons extremely effective against those Zerglings, since it does deal a little bit of splash damage, can take them down in just a moment's notice. Meanwhile, there are a handful of probes off over here as well, as GungFuBanda finally gets up his third base, even though he is currently down 6 workers. No more worker production. Level 1 weapons and armor upgrades. Movement speed for those Banelings, and they're going to be rolling on in, trying to crash onto these sentries, and more importantly, perhaps even some of these buildings as well, since they do deal bonus damage to those buildings. GungFuBanda still slowly building up his army, and he's looking for the right opportunity to strike. He does have Dark Templars Hallucinated Phoenixes running around, but there hasn't really been that many worker kills, and these Hallucinated Phoenixes are just simply scouting. That's all they're doing at this point, with really no return. You can see that there is a proxy pylon over here off to the north, and I don't believe LZ knows about it. No, he still does not. But as the Queens make their way over, and we can see some creep tumors being added on to the high ground here, they are going to find this, and now 2 Dark Templars are going to make their way over, only to be spotted by an Overseer the moment they try to make their way in. They're now going to back off. Here is a handful of Queens, 6 Queens strong enough to take down a poor defenseless pylon. All right. Another thing to note, Queens are amazingly strong in the late game as well. As you can see, oh, there is that Archon. No, oh wow, somehow the Zerglings were able to find a way out of that opening there. That poor force field was not back enough, as we are going to be looking at a bit of an engagement. So far, the Dark Templars are there. There is an Overseer there as well, and the Archons could try and go for a bit of an engagement. So far, the Warp Prism still wandering around, hoping to get some backdoor action, being able to just slip in a couple of units, but he will need to slip in a large number of Zealots to have any real effect, as there's the Photon Overcharge as well. GungFuBanda being on the defensive end, he is going to be taking a beating here. Banelings try to rush their way through, unable to do so, and a number of Banelings get destroyed there, as the resources lost are actually higher for LZ. However, LZ does have a slight, well, no, we are about even in terms of overall resources, as, oh, Banelings just absolutely destroying 16 workers killed there, and that was manual detonation of those Banelings one at a time. If the Banelings had attacked perhaps 7 seconds later from now, they would have destroyed all of those probes, as it only takes one shot from a Baneling to destroy it as opposed to two. Those probes now already recharging their shields, and now will slowly get back up to form, as those probes were just very lucky. Now coming back over here, you can see GungFuBanda does have a handful of units here. Is he warping in some Zealots? Yes, he is. What is he going to be doing with that Zealot? Now backing off, realizing that he can't do very much with it at all. Zerglings still sitting at the 6 o'clock position, and so far LZ says, you know what, I don't need to engage right now. Let this tide, this flow of the battle, I don't need to engage. Let me pull back, let me regroup, let me gather myself up, and then I'm going to engage once more. What I was mentioning earlier is Queens are just very effective in the early portions of the game, because they're strong anti-air units and they are able to establish that creep. But more importantly, what we saw in the previous game was that LZ was able to keep these Queens and actually use them offensively with Broodlords. By using them with Broodlords, he can continually heal them up, and those Queens with maximum energy can heal a lot of hit points, making it very difficult for a Protoss army to do any serious trading. Alright, let's see what's happening next. We can see an Observer is up in the air, helping to clean up some of these creep tumors. As the creep tumors fall, however, the Zerglings are going to try and do a little bit of a flank. There you go, there's some force fields. Immortal's trying to fight back here. There's the recall, and that recall apparently didn't recall everyone back home, as GungFuBanda loses another unit. Off to the north, Zealots and Dark Templars now rushing to take down an infestation pit. And meanwhile, we see another rush down over here trying to take down this base here. Is there another rush here? No, there is not. But there is a pretty decent force attempting to take down the Greater Spire as it is being upgraded. Alright, Dark Templars and Zealots about to finish the Greater Spire. There it goes. Now a spire will need to be recreated as well before even a Greater Spire can be started. That Warp Prism hanging off to the north, and this is going to put LZ a bit behind in terms of his plans, but LZ is still tremendously ahead when you look at units. The army of LZ, 102 Zerglings, 7 Banelings, compared to just 6 Zealots, 2 Immortals, 1 Archon, 2 Stalkers. That is not going to be enough, as we're still looking at all of these Zerglings perhaps ready to die for the cause here in just a moment. Chitinous armor now being added for those Ultralists as well. 2 Ultralists now being added. Level 3 weapons upgrades. I don't see an infestation pit any longer, since it was taken down earlier. So far, that chitinous armor is going to give +2 armor to those Ultralists, making them near impervious to Zealot attacks. However, the Immortal should be more than enough, as the sentries are right there. Are we going to perhaps get some force fields? And oh, there are those Archons just trying to fight and engage. However, a handful of Zerglings were on the inside of that force field wall as well, able to finish them off. There goes another Archon before it is done being merged. We don't even see the Photon Overcharge coming. Oh, there he goes, finally coming in from that Nexus. Banelings are going to run in, though, and take down a handful of probes in just a matter of seconds. 53 workers killed, and I believe that is going to be the GG. GungFuBanda has no legs to stand on. The probes just have been completely destroyed, No more economy, and there is the G as LZ takes out GungFuBanda 3-1 in this best of 5. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.